Hi, I'm Ivy. What would you like to talk about today?
Hi, Ivy. So lately I've been really extremely overloaded with a whole bunch of stuff on my plate. Like, for the longest time, even years ago, I just always am just overwhelmed with the fact that I'm going to school. I have two jobs. I go to school full time, and yet I never feel like it's worth it. I always end up feeling like it's just I'm giving all this work and I'm doing all these things to make myself happy because I don't really have a family anymore that I go home to or anything that I can relate to or talk to or tell them what's going on in my day. And it's weird because I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to, I like living in my own place because I live in my own apartment and I like living in my own place and having my own personal time, but it just makes it kind of worse when I'm done with like working 16 hours between two jobs and then I'm just really upset that like nothing has paid out yet and it really irks me and gets me mad because life isn't just meant to work and spend all your money on bills. It sucked and I get that's part of adulthood, but it's just the way things went in my past. And I mean, I know I'm on a good track, but I'm just really like upset and annoyed that it's nothing's paying out and I'm like wearing myself out thin like a pancake for nothing. But yet I go home to my own apartment that I pay for and I pay my bills and stuff and I feel better like about that. It's really hard though for myself to like concentrate on that because all my life I've never really had someone there to say they were proud of me.
So you're really feeling frustrated about everything coming down on you at once, and you're just trying to figure out whether or not it's going to be worth it in the end, and it's just starting to really get to you and for the decisions that you want to make in the future. And
Yeah, no, that's exactly it because I seriously can't even explain because it's really hard too for like going to work and then people at work are always complaining that they're tired or they come in late because they're tired or they overslept and stuff and it's like I understand I have 4 years under my belt of having an overload, so I'm a little bit used to living life being tired as hell and not being able to focus all the time. But it just annoys me because I feel like sometimes like teachers or my managers at work or people around me don't realize the effort I make into doing things and it just upsets me that some people, and I know I'm not the only person living life like that, but it just really upsets me that people don't like they just don't get it. Sometimes they don't know. I mean, yeah, sure, some people may have kids, but some people, I understand that's like a whole boatload, but it just really irritates me because I feel like college students who work two jobs to try to support themselves because they didn't have the best parents back then really affects, how I feel, how draining that is just to know that you need to go home and know that you did a good job on your own. And I'm not asking for a cookie or a gold star. I just like a little compensation for it. Like if a teacher, like occasionally, I understand they have a whole bunch of student stuff, but just be like, hey, you know what? I could see in your eyes that you're struggling a little bit, but I want you to know you're on the right track. Like just something like that. But I don't have that. I don't live with my parents, and I'm only 20 years old, and I feel like I'm a 40-year-old because I'm just wear myself thin completely.
yeah, it seems to me that you are doing a lot and you are doing really good things. You know, you're trying to better your education and you're working full time to pay all the bills. I totally understand that. You know, everybody goes through some rough times just to make it. It really is just, you have a good head on your shoulders and you want to do the right thing, but you just want that recognition from the people to, give you that little boost of feeling of accomplishment that you kind of are looking for.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, I mean, it doesn't have to be like a cookie or a gold star, but I mean, I do agree with you. I mean, you're right about that, and thanks for pointing out, the good things, because a lot of times I'll come into work and I'll be upset, and sometimes they'll want me to tell them like why I'm upset, but it's just so much I can't explain it to them. I just, it's it's so much that I feel like they would just eventually get bored of it, and also the fact that they don't understand. I feel like they don't understand. They may understand to a certain point, like they understand what being tired is, and I know being tired is measured completely different to every person. You know, someone who's not used to working like 16-hour shifts and only has ever worked probably the most a 7-hour shift, and they work a 9-hour shift, they may think that's completely draining. But yet here I am working next to this person, and I'm like, dude, I'm on my 12th hour of working between my two jobs with barely an hour in between to just switch jobs. I don't even have an hour in between to go take a shower and relax and maybe get myself a cup of coffee. I only have time to like quickly change my clothes in the bathroom at my other job. Like, and I work at a fast food place too, so it's like I change my clothes there and I set my stuff on like the baby pull-out station and I change my clothes, and then I like, you know, and I smell like Arby's and I douse myself with perfume, and then I go to my next job and I'm already exhausted because I already worked like 8 or 9 hours. It's like a 6 a.m. to 11 at night shift. And then like sometimes the third shifter doesn't come in for my other job, so then I have to stay there extra, and it's just so draining. It's so draining and it's annoying because I know I'm doing everything right and what society says you should do, but it's like, it's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah, to me, it really sounds like you were just very exhausted and you feel like you're coming to a point where you're not quite sure what to do or how much you really want to keep going through it, because after so many years, you are starting to just kind of hit a spot where you're just kind of questioning things a little bit. May I ask how or what you have done to kind of balance everything a little more, and stress level, work level, school work?
Yeah, well, I know school is my priority, so I tend to not try to like lessen that because I know that the outcome will be so worth it. But for my job situation, because I had got this job at Productive Living Systems, a place where you take care of people who are mentally ill, and as soon as I got that job, I was working like 16-hour days every day at first between Arby's and that job. So I'd work like 7 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning till whenever at night, like 10, 11, 12 some days. And it was really getting to me, and like I didn't have time for homework. So I lessened it, and I went to my, like, because Productive Living Systems is a job that goes with my experience for what I'm going for in the field of school. So I lessened that whole thing with Arby's, and I told them like, hey, you know, I actually considered just putting my 2-week notice, only working the one job, but that extra little bit of money really goes a long way, and I honestly can't afford it. I can't afford it. And because I do that, so I sent my notice in and stuff, and then my manager was like, oh, we really need someone to put away truck, which is usually Saturdays. Every Saturday truck comes in, so that's why we come at 6 a.m. to put away the boxes of stuff, and then I get down to doing my actual job before customers come in. So I'm usually like, I was for past 4 years, I've been working at Arby's, and I always did truck. I always did weekend prep, and I was there full time. So then because of all this situation, I was going to put away 2-week notice, but then my manager offered me a raise. So I'm like, okay, I can't. It was a nice raise too, and he wouldn't have done it for most people. So I'm like, okay, well, I still can't work there full time. So we compromised, and we talked about, you know, maybe if I only work that Saturday every week, that's it. Only work Saturday. So I would only have one day out of the week where I'd work 16 hours, and then my other days would be just work and then school. So I have tried things like that and tried considering taking less classes for like next semester, but I really don't want to do that because I feel like I'm doing good with school. It's just like, I feel like my grades are like decent. I mean, they're not A's, they're maybe like a C or a B, but I mean, I feel like for being under the circumstances of how much I'm like have on my plate, I feel like getting that kind of a grade is outstanding. And sometimes I don't give myself enough credit for that because I feel like, oh, because you didn't get an A, you're a failure, but then I have to take in consideration that I have all this other stuff on my plate, and that's like, wow, I did a damn good job trying to figure that out, and I don't give myself credit for it, and sometimes I just break down and cry at night because I don't know what to do. I just am so overwhelmed, and I don't want to do it anymore, but I know I have to, and I want to. It's weird. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that you yourself are pointing out the positives and the negatives of your entire situation. You know, you are going to school full time, you have a lot on your plate, and I give you a lot of credit for doing that because it is hard going to school full time, working full time, let alone working two jobs full time. And I really like that, you know, you did go and try to figure out a better schedule for yourself and trying to see like what may work and what doesn't work to kind of lessen the load a little bit. Were you planning on kind of seeking out maybe doing that just once a week type thing with one job, or kind of going further into that to see maybe if that's going to be better on you health wise and stress wise?
Yeah, and I know that was definitely a positive of it too because I did switch it to 1 day a week. So now I work like Mondays and Tuesdays are the only 2 days off. I ask off for both jobs. Well, actually my one job, but so I ask off for both days, and then but my only 2 days off are spent like all day at school. My only 2 days off I haven't had a day off in probably a year. And if it was a day off, it was probably something because I was either ill or sick of any way, or I had something going on where I had a death in the family, and those are the only reasons why I take a day off. And I have anxiety whenever I do take a day off because I feel like I could have been out there making money because money's tight, and then that causes me to buy cigarettes and smoke because I'm overwhelmed and I have anxiety about not making enough money, but yet I need to make more money so I can buy the cigarettes. But when I try quitting smoking cigarettes, it's like an endless cycle, as you can see. It's really annoying, and I've tried quitting before and all that stuff, but as for that goes, so I have my 2 days off are Mondays and Tuesdays, but then they're spent at school, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, work at Productive Living Systems, and then Saturday, work at Productive Living Systems and Arby's, and then Sunday, work at Productive Living Systems, and then Monday, Tuesday, I have school, and it just has been continuing for 4 years. I've always had that kind of schedule, and I've been able to balance it really well, but occasionally, like, it's impossible not to have a breakdown once in a while from having that kind of schedule. So occasionally I'll definitely just like break down and cry in my room. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I just want to like smoke a cigarette. And it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, I can really hear the frustration and, you know, the overwhelming feelings and everything going on at once for you. And, you know, everybody has their own ways of coping. And for your situation alone, I really do feel like you are taking the right steps in the right directions of how to balance everything to get what you need done. Because, like you said, money is tight, and, you know, you want to do good in school, accomplish the good grades, eventually get the job of your dreams that you want to eventually, you know, get to that point. It's just right now, back to what you said earlier, it's just kind of all coming down to a point where you just don't know how much everything is worth it anymore, and figuring that out.
Yeah. And I know it's worth it for me. Like, I'm doing it all for me because, like, in my past and throughout my childhood, I didn't have the greatest of parents or family in my life at all. And I'm surprised I didn't stoop down to their level and mess up my life the way they did. But I'm doing this because of me. I'm not going to school because that's what society says a person who's 18 or in between 18 and 24 is supposed to go to school and get the job of their dreams. Like, I'm doing it because I want to. I don't want to spend every day working at a fast food place. I want to do I really want to help people. And I know it's a stereotype that, you shouldn't just do it, tell people, but I sincerely do. Because I want that support for people because I didn't have that support from people. So what better way than to, flip it around, have a good attitude about it, and be like, you know what? I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna do what makes me happy, and I wanna, even if talking to other people is gonna make me upset, hearing some stories of them, but I feel like I would have not love, but compassion, strong compassion for them, and I'd be able to understand without even having to share what happened in my life. I'll be able to, be able to word things right and actually tell them what they want to hear, because not everyone wants to hear that everything's going to be okay and then, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, it's a load of crap. No one wants to hear that. If someone's going through some difficult time, the best thing to probably say is like, hey, this is going to be difficult, but I know you can get through it. Like, no one wants to hear that they're sorry, because they're just saying that to try to ease the like weirdness or the silence or the awkwardness that they feel. It's like if more people would just, have a good head on their shoulders and think of things a different way, it just wouldn't be the way. So it all irritates me. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you have very exceptional goals that you have planned out for yourself, and it's really fascinating that you did get this far from where you came and what you've said. Do you ultimately believe that because of how your childhood was and things that you went through, and not getting that support system with everything, is ultimately the reasoning why you could be coming to this breaking point of everything coming down on you, and that could be a lot of the reason as to why you might not be feeling as confident as you originally were in the semester?
Yeah, no, that is head on, because my parents were, my mom is a severe alcoholic, and she had some horrible things happen to her in the past, and so that's why she's been, she always drank throughout my whole life, and it's affected me so much, but I've just learned to deal with it. And then my parents are divorced, so every other week I'd go to my mom's house, who she was an alcoholic, she still is, and then I would go to my dad's house, who would actually physically abuse me. So, I never got, like, neither parent showed me that they even wanted me, like, with them or here. So, I never got that, like, compensation of, like, coming home with, like, your crappy noodle picture that you made and put it on the fridge. I never had that. I never got that in my life. My own parents didn't even come to my high school graduation. They weren't even there for like half my birthdays, because they were too busy going out partying or doing something random, or they would always cancel on me, or they just never made me feel like I meant anything to them. The only thing they did was just be like, hey, okay, here's some new clothes, or here's dinner on the table. Like, don't get me wrong, my parents did a lot for me. They still provided me with a roof over my head. They fed me. They got my needs met. Like, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have learned responsibility of going out, getting a job, paying for my stuff myself, dealing with horrible situations and, traumatic events, but yet still doing the things that's to your day-to-day schedule. Like, I've still just sucked it up. And I think that's when I explode a lot, or I get upset. And then you're right, like, about what you said before. That's when it starts to, all of a sudden, I'm laying in bed at night and I just wake up, I'm trying to fall asleep and I can't, and then I just sit there and I just dwell in my mind, and I'm like, wow, like, I'm really in pain right now, and I don't even have a parent I could just, like, talk to. And it's different because I know I have plenty of friends and plenty of people out there who I know who care for me and want the best for me, but it's just nothing like hearing it from your own parents. It's just, there's nothing like that.
Right, you definitely want that, that recognition and that caring, coming from the people who did raise you. And I 100% understand your viewpoint completely, because you hear about, these family situations all around, and you hear about the kids going off, spiraling off into a bad direction. They don't go down a right path, but that's why I feel like, you are doing really good for yourself. You came out of this situation that necessarily wasn't the best for you, and you're turning it into a viewpoint where you want to push past it, and you want to help others, and you want to be caring and understanding towards other people who may be going through the same situation. So I think that is a very good quality that you came out of this whole situation about. And with the schooling and everything, it's hard, and it's definitely gonna be a journey to get past, but I really do believe that you have a right direction of going towards. It's more so that, you know, you are hitting kind of like a wall with things where you want to keep pushing, but some things are pushing you back a little bit where it's kind of hard to decipher with everything. So, you know, I do give you a lot of credit for everything like that, but you know, unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our session, so if you would like to reschedule and talk about it some more, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, I'll for sure do that. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.